residential property. So the first and most familiar type is residential property. This is basically anything built for people to live in. We're talking houses, apartments, condos, townhouses, the whole range. And the numbers here are massive. According to global real estate reports, residential property makes up over 75% of the total real estate market worldwide. That's huge. Now, within residential, there's actually a big split. You've got single-family homes, which is just one house, one family, one plot of land. Then you've got multifamily homes, where you might have 2, 4, or even more units stacked or connected together. Think of a building with 6 apartments. That's still technically residential, but it works very differently from a standalone house. What makes residential so appealing for most people is that it's the most relatable. You've lived in one. You understand what makes a good one. And that familiarity actually gives everyday buyers a real advantage because they know what to look for. The kitchen size matters. The neighborhood matters. The school nearby matters. These are things people feel, not just calculate on a spreadsheet. But here's where it gets interesting. Owning a residential property doesn't just mean a place to sleep. It can be rented out, passed down through generations, or sold at a profit. In many countries, residential real estate has appreciated by an average of 5 to 7% annually over the last 2 decades. So it's not just a home, it can be one of the smartest financial moves you ever make. Moving into the big leagues, commercial property. Now let's shift gears a little. Commercial property is where things get a bit more serious, and honestly, a lot more interesting. This covers office buildings, shopping malls, retail stores, hotels, and basically any property that's used for business purposes rather than living. The big difference with commercial is the income potential. Commercial leases tend to run anywhere from 3 to 10 years, sometimes even longer. That means if you own a commercial space and a business moves in, you're looking at a very long and steady stream of rental income. Compare that to a residential tenant who might stay a year or two. Commercial is a whole different ballgame. We also need to talk about the risk side, because commercial property is more sensitive to the economy. When businesses struggle, like during a recession or, say, a global pandemic, commercial properties feel it hard. Office spaces emptied out, malls saw foot traffic drop. So while the rewards can be bigger, the risks are real too. Still, the global commercial real estate market is valued at over $32 trillion, so clearly a lot of smart money is flowing in this direction. The underrated one, industrial property. Now, this one doesn't get enough attention, and honestly, we think that's a mistake. Industrial property includes warehouses, factories, distribution centers, and storage facilities. It's not glamorous, but right now, it might be the most in-demand type of property on the planet. Why? Because of e-commerce. Every time someone orders something online, that product has to live somewhere before it reaches your door. Amazon, for example, has over 1,000 warehouse facilities globally. The demand for industrial space has absolutely exploded over the last decade, and vacancy rates in this sector have hit all-time lows in many major cities. What's great about industrial property from an investment angle is its simplicity. There's usually less maintenance than a fancy office building or a residential complex. Tenants, typically large companies, sign long leases and tend to stay put because moving a warehouse operation is expensive and disruptive. Land, the blank canvas. Here's the one that surprises most people. Raw land, just pure, undeveloped ground. No buildings, no structures, nothing. And yet, land can be incredibly valuable depending on where it is and what it could become. Land is split into a few categories. Agricultural land used for farming, residential land ready to be built on, commercial land zoned for businesses, and then what's often called raw or undeveloped land that hasn't been approved for anything yet. The tricky part with land is that it doesn't generate income while you hold it. Unlike a house you can rent or a warehouse someone's leasing, empty land just sits there. But the upside? It can appreciate dramatically if development comes to the area. Buying land on the edge of a growing city, for instance, and waiting a few years, that's a strategy that's made many investors very wealthy. Special purpose properties, the wild cards. Finally, there's a category that doesn't quite fit the others: special purpose properties. These are built for one very specific use. Think hospitals, schools, churches, movie theaters, amusement parks, and even gas stations. These properties are fascinating because their value is so tied to their function. A church building isn't easy to convert into something else. A hospital has very specific structural requirements. This makes special purpose properties a bit of a niche market, but for the right buyer or investor, they can be extremely valuable assets. So, which one's right for you? Here's what we want you to take away from all of this. There is no single best type of property. It really comes down to your goal. Are you looking for a home to live in? Residential is your world. Want passive income with long-term stability? Look into commercial or industrial. Have patience and a long time horizon? Might be land is your move. The more we understand about property types, the better decisions we make. And the best time to start learning? Right now. So if this helped you see the real estate world a little more clearly, drop a comment below and let us know which property type surprised you the most. See you in the next one.